As someone who's been a huge fan of stealth action games like Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell for the longest time, I was really intrigued to finally check out the legendary entries into the Metal Gear Solid series with the release of the Metal Gear Master Collection Volume 1 last year in 2023. I've played more modern Metal Gear Solid games. I played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance when it came out. I absolutely loved it, but I just never went back to check out the other games. I also bought Metal Gear Solid 5 day one, and I absolutely loved it, but I just never went back and played the older games. I've also played Kojima's next game after MGS5, Death Stranding. I absolutely love Death Stranding, and I can't wait for the sequel. So, with the Master Collection, I thought it's time to go back and check it out. And that's only possible because thanks to a code from Konami. Konami gave me a code to check out the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, so big thank you to them for giving a code, and I've been able to play through all the games, all 3 games. I've been putting in some ungodly hours, but I have been able to beat all 3 of them. But yeah, just thanks to Konami, and so let's begin with the very first Metal Gear Solid. We're going to go through Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. We're going to go through all 3 games, and I'm going to give my impressions and my opinion on them. Metal Gear Solid is the game that kicked off the Metal Gear Solid universe. Obviously, there were some games before this called Metal Gear, but Metal Gear Solid kind of started this whole thing. So you play Solid Snake infiltrating a nuclear disposal facility to neutralize the terrorist threat from Foxhound. Snake is trying to rescue hostages and stop the group's renegade leader, Liquid Snake, from launching a nuclear strike. The story and cutscenes are, honestly, they are so over the top, but they're just so good. For a game that is so old, obviously this is a remaster, but it's pretty much the exact same game as was on PS1, just on my PlayStation 5. It's actually a really gripping and unforgettable story. You know, I was surprised how much I enjoyed the story. I don't want to spoil anything because I did really enjoy it. I was surprised because I expected the story to be one of the weaker parts because, you know, it's a PS1 game, so I expected some limitations on what they were going to be able to tell with the story. But the characters, the writing, the overall story, the pacing, it's all really, really good. But then we have the other part, which I wasn't so fond of, and that's the gameplay. So I don't think the gameplay's aged very well. You know, it's fun sneaking through enemy bases, trying to figure out where best times to take out enemies so you can hide their bodies well. You know, the level design, to be fair, is actually pretty cool. There's so many cool different pathways you can take down targets so you can progress to your objective. You know, there's also cool gadgets. The cardboard box is so cool, obviously. There's also some really cool boss fights in there. It's not all of them are great, but obviously Psycho Mantis was kind of cool. I knew Psycho Mantis existed with the controller port thing, and you can read the memory card, which Master Collection also does this really cool thing where you can actually emulate what games are on your memory card. Psycho Mantis will actually say what games are on your emulated memory card. I thought that was a really cool thing. Some things I didn't like though. The stealth feels just so dated. You know, I'm kind of used to more modern games, more modern stealth games, and even older Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cells, which is more what I'm familiar with. It's so dated. It's a PlayStation 1 game. The PlayStation 1 is so goddamn old. So that was something. It did take kind of adjustment for me because it wasn't the most fun stealth gameplay, but I still enjoyed it. It wasn't like I was like jumping out my seat in excitement, but I still had fun. I think the controls were a little clunky. I don't know if it's because going from PS1 to PS5, I don't know if they've changed the controls or whatever, try to make them more friendly, and it didn't kind of work. I just found it kind of clunky to move around. It took a while, like after like 3-4 hours, I kind of got my head around it, and the fixed camera angles, I didn't really like it. Like it's like you'd have to aim your gun, but it doesn't go like first person or something. You just kind of have to aim it like from the kind of like fixed camera angle, like the top down perspective, and I found that kind of clunky and just not fun. Yeah. While the game nailed its Cold War vibes and its story and its atmosphere, the gameplay just hasn't aged as gracefully as the memorable story and characters. But overall, Metal Gear Solid 1 is still a fun game. It's just, you're gonna have to really push and try. You have to spend a couple hours just pushing and just keep playing, and hopefully it will click with you. It's also kind of a difficult game, but if you just give it a couple hours, it might click with you, it might not. But overall, it's a decent game. It's just, it hasn't aged particularly well. In Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, players control the rookie Raiden, who's sneaking his way through the Big Shell offshore facility to stop an uprising led by Solidus Snake and the Sons of Liberty terrorist group. It might not be as genre-defining or as revolutionary as the first game, and I know MGS2 caught a lot of flack back in the day. I know a lot of people weren't so hot on this game when it came out, but I actually enjoyed it so much more than MGS. Maybe story-wise, I think I maybe enjoyed the first game more, but the second game, I actually really had a lot of fun with the gameplay. Now, granted, I actually finished like MGS1, I think at like 10 o'clock at night, and I think like I took like a 20-minute break and came back and just got straight into Metal Gear Solid 2, so maybe that's why I was so enjoying the gameplay so much more, because I just went straight from one to the other. The upgrade is unbelievable. Like, there's stuff like when you aim your gun, it's now in like first person. This is so good. My biggest complaint of the first game with the camera angles, I found it clunky to aim. The second game completely fixes that. The AI is not the smartest, but it's so much smarter than the first game. The hanging from bars, you can like go on like a railing, like hang from the bars and stuff. That's so cool. I also kind of love the oil rig setting. It was kind of weird, but I kind of liked it. However, the protagonist switch was kind of weird. I knew it was coming. Basically, you play Solid Snake for like half an hour or two, and then you play as Raiden the rest of the game. I knew it was coming, so I wasn't like that annoyed about it, but yeah, it was kind of controversial. But I actually kind of liked Raiden. I think that's unpopular. I think a lot of people didn't like Raiden in MGS2, but I don't know. There were some kind of funny moments with Raiden in this game. I kind of liked it. However, though, my complaints are the gameplay is pretty much just Metal Gear Solid 1 but upgraded, but that's not a big problem. I understand. They just kind of took what they had and just upgraded it, and the upgrades are incredible. However, movement and the camera, still kind of frustrating. The fixed camera, it's just not really for me. It's not my favorite thing, but I can put up with it. I just would rather it was third person, but I know some people get angry about that, but coming at it from a modern perspective, I wasn't so hot on the whole fixed camera, but I put up with it and I did beat both of these games. My main problem with the game, though, is actually the backtracking. I feel like I had to go through so much of the same areas, and I don't know if it was genuine just backtracking or more oil rig. As cool as it was, I like the setting, I just kind of found it kind of all just looked the same for the most part. A lot of the oil rig just kind of felt the same, and I felt like I did have to go through like so many different areas. To get to this area, I had to go all the way back around, and it felt kind of like padding, and yeah. Overall, though, I think I enjoyed playing Sons of Liberty more. I had more fun with the gameplay, but I think I preferred the story of the first game. But still, really good game. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This is a prequel that takes players back to the 1960s as they control the legendary Naked Snake on a mission to rescue a defecting Soviet scientist, uncover a secret weapons project in the jungles, and it's absolutely incredible. Snake Eater is definitely my favorite for its gameplay innovations. This game plays so damn well even today. Again, maybe because they went from Metal Gear Solid 1 to 2 to 3. Maybe that's why. But I had so much fun with Metal Gear Solid 3. The open world, well, it's not really it's kind of an open world. It's got tons of like open zones you can kind of go to freely, which is kind of cool. In this Cold War jungle setting was a brilliant departure from the oil rig kind of mechanical feel of the first two games. The facilities and secret bases and stuff to this just beautiful jungle, which looks pretty good to be fair for how old the game is. The gameplay also, when you get hit and like shot in combat or melee, you actually have to like heal your wounds. You have to like craft like splints and stuff and bandages. It's really in depth. It plays almost like a survival game at points. You can like catch food, like you can go into like swamps and pick up frogs and just like eat them. There's also this camouflage system, which is so cool because basically you're in the jungle and you can wear whatever you want. You get to choose whatever camo you want to wear, but if you wear like a jungle camo while you're in like a swamp, you're gonna get spotted. But if you swap the camo with a brown camo while you're in this like brown swamp area, your camo meter will go up to like 100, meaning enemies will have a harder time spotting you. This is so damn cool. I genuinely loved it. I also thought the boss battles were really cool. There's the guy, the End, Fear, and Pain were also cool. I love the bee guy. I don't know, the bees wasp guy. I thought that boss fight was kind of fun. Yeah, I really did enjoy this game so much more. The core stealth was pretty much unchanged from the first two games, but with the new third-person camera perspective, it just makes it play so much better, in my opinion. Snake Eater also showed that MGS gameplay can actually still be really good in 2024. I think MGS1 and MGS2 have aged not poorly, but I think MGS1 has aged relatively poorly. Its visuals are okay and the combat and gameplay is okay, but just mainly because it was a PlayStation 1 game. It's not the fault of the game, it's a PlayStation 1 game. What can you do? But from a modern perspective, it doesn't feel as great. Or MGS2, obviously, is a good game, but I think it just has a lot of those, like the fixed camera angles I wasn't so fond of, the backtracking, and I wasn't as fond of the story. I still liked it, but I didn't like it as much as MGS1. But MGS3 here Honestly, it felt so good. It genuinely felt like a game that if it came out today, I'd call it dated, but I think I'd still have so much fun. Again, the survival elements, I love those. That was like a big surprise for me. Did not expect it at all. This whole survival part. The stealth, again, AI felt smart enough. It felt smart enough that I wasn't like, oh, look how dumb the AI is or how smart it was. It was just a nice middle ground. I felt like it was challenging enough at points. I think the gameplay was really good. There's some really good like boss designs. Like the spectacle just felt huge and stuff. There's also a lot of Godzilla references at the start of the game. There's just like Godzilla references. I don't know why they're there, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, I really loved MGS3. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is easily my favorite of this Master Collection, and honestly, a game that I think I will be replaying probably again very shortly. Like, I genuinely love this game so much. So, I think my biggest problem that I didn't really mention there was the remaster itself. These remasters are not great. The games itself, I really want to focus on the games. I didn't want to just focus on the remasters because in reality, the games are fine. It's just the remaster feels lazy. The control schemes, I feel like they could have done more to make the control schemes feel better, especially for Metal Gear Solid 1. I think they could have tweaked the camera angles a bit more to kind of make them a bit more bit more modern and kind of get rid of some of the clunkier ones. I think the UI could have been maybe tweaked for some of these games. I don't know. But mainly also the visuals. I felt the visuals could have been upgraded a lot more. All these games run at like relatively okay resolutions. They're all like 1080p 60, and that's fine. But I'm playing on a current generation console. I kind of expected these old games to be running at 4K 60 and have some increased texture quality and stuff. I understand there's a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake coming, but I just feel like these remasters just felt very lazy. They kind of just felt like we just bundled 3 games into one package and called it a day. I just felt like the visuals could have used a bit more overhauling. A higher resolution would have been nice. Maybe some more better control schemes, because I didn't really like the default ones in these games. MGS3 was fine, but the first 2 I wasn't so hot on it. It took me a while to kind of adapt to that. But I hope we do get a Volume 2 with Metal Gear Solid 4, because I have heard Metal Gear Solid 4 is meant to be incredible. However, it is stuck in the dungeons of PlayStation 3, so we cannot play it unless you have a PS3 or you emulate it. But I'm hoping Volume 2 will give us MGS4 on modern consoles. That would be really cool. And hopefully other games. I don't know what other games they can add. Again, I'm not the biggest Metal Gear Solid fan in the world, as you can see by I'm playing these games for the first time. I think Metal Gear Solid can be appreciated in 2024 from a modern gaming mindset. You just have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of that era and kind of just embrace the clunkiness and the kind of old PS1, PS2 era camera and controls. But if you can do that, you'll have a really good time, and I do give a strong recommendation to the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection while it's on sale. But genuinely, really good games, and I really enjoyed my time playing these. But anyway, thank you for watching. I have been the Intel, and I hope you have a lovely day.